Okay, dear viewer, many thanks to you for having joined us today on yet another edition of the program The Arena, coming to you on a Naked Television. My name is Chris Anibuogu. I don't know how much you know about the ongoing face-off between the U.S. and the federal government of Nigeria. Well, if you know or you don't know, there are different sides to the matter. I'll be looking at these different sides. And to help us do analysis of the matter, we have a regular on this platform, a development communications expert, a journalist, in the person of Emeka Odom. You're welcome to our show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure having you, come around, sir.
Yeah, always my
Despite
pleasure.
your tight schedule, you always avail yourself once we call on you. We sincerely do appreciate.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so to begin with, right away, somebody asked me a question. That's why I'm going to put it to you now. Is Nigeria at war with the United States of America? Are these two countries at war with each other?
Well, thank you so much. Well, we somehow I believe in God, and most times I take my inspiration from His words. The Bible says that we only know in parts, but God knows in whole. So, in answering that question, are we in war with the United States? Let me say that we know in parts. We do not know the whole, and the parts that we know simply tells me that no. I don't think Nigeria is at war with the United States, except if there are other things that we do not know.
That we may not know.
Yes, because when you say you are at war with the United States, that tells a lot. I can look into the sky. I don't see any drone on any warplane flying across. No alerts, no red alert has been issued. And if I check very well, I can still see that some of our friends and brothers and countrymen and women in the United States are very much relaxed, and the United States embassy here is still open, and everything is going normal. So I don't think there's any war going on anywhere. There could be issues, there could be disagreements here and there, but that is what relationship is all about. Nigeria has a relationship with the United States, and I think that when two friends feel different, they tell themselves, look, boy, I don't like this thing you did. So they sort it out.
Okay, we'll come to the critical issues, okay? But then a friend just asked me the question yesterday and said, Chris, are we at war with the U.S.? I laughed and I was lost for some time. I said, why do you ask? He said he heard that Donald Trump said he's going to be sending his military troops down to Nigeria, and news reports equally has it that the National Security Advisor to the President of Nigeria, Nuhu Ribadu, equally summoned a security meeting with the new security chiefs.
Yeah.
So with that, he felt that war was going to ensue any moment from now. So that's why I started with the question, are we at war?
You know that naturally when news break, it's subject to interpretation by different people. Everybody will interpret it based on their understanding on the goings on in the moment, and so it's subject to different kinds of interpretation. However, yes, it is true that the President of the United States said something along that line, and it's also correct that, of course, as you can see from today's dailies, that the National Security Advisor probably is holding a meeting with the security chiefs. But I think that, to me, I don't even know if I were the editor of that paper, I can't use that for a headline, because this is a country. The National Security Advisor works hand in hand with the security chiefs. Whether Trump has said anything or Trump hasn't said anything, it is normal for him to hold regular consultations
as part of his
duties, and more so as these gentlemen were just recently appointed. And probably cleared by the Senate, and maybe sworn in by the President. They had their briefing, and they were decorated with their new ranks. So it's not behoves on the National Security Advisor to take it further, to discuss more deeply with them, dissect things, discuss strategies, you know, so I think it's a routine thing. It's normal.
So it shouldn't be making
that shouldn't be a headline of a major national daily. Well, they could report it to tell us, to let us know that yes, these men have swung into action. But whether they report it or not, we know that it is normal for National Security Advisor to meet with security chiefs to discuss with them. There's a reason why their predecessors probably were removed, and even if, as people count, that they have completed their tenure, new ones are. It's just normal for them to, you know, review strategies, listen to their own their own ideas and their own strategy, what they are bringing to the table to improve on, you know, where their predecessors stopped. So for me, it's normal. That's the way I see it.
Okay, so let's now get to the crux of the matter proper. Emeka Udom, you are a journalist. You've been following news reportage, okay? In recent times, we've seen where the current president of United States of America, Donald Trump, actually issued a warning to the Nigerian government and said, act fast. Because if you don't act fast over the killings, let me use the word genocide, genocidal killings of Christians in Nigeria, that he will strike. And he says he's going to do it fast, vicious, and sweet. Quoting his words. I don't know, how do you receive such news?
Okay. You know,
as a Nigerian?
Yes, as a Nigerian. And I think that caption, as a Nigerian, I will come to that.
Okay.
You see, this issue has been in the public domain now for running into, you know, almost 1 week now. And I've listened to a lot of people, you know, both, you know, people in different walks of life, do analysis, discuss these issues. But I think that many people are missing the mark.
Missing the mark?
Yes. Now, this issue has several dimensions to it. Of course, there's a nationalistic approach to it.
Okay.
And perhaps that is where I bring in the word as a Nigerian. Right? There's a diplomatic approach to it. And there's a factual approach to it. Frankly speaking.
So we're going to take them one at a time?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, let me begin as a Nigerian. Now, as a Nigerian, you take pride in your country. You understand that the principle of statehood and sovereignty and statehood simply states that no one country is supreme to another.
That's right.
Irrespective of the population, the size in landmass, the might, economic, military might, or whatever other might that such a country may have. So if you have to interpret that very clearly, you can now say a China that's over more than 1 billion people, obviously larger in terms of land mass, larger in terms of population, larger in terms of economic strength, larger in terms of military strength, perhaps far more developed than, you know, another tiny country, right? Let's say in Africa, maybe a country like maybe Djibouti or something like that.
Okay.
Good. So irrespective of those differences, China is not supreme to that country. So in this circumstance, Nigeria is on the same pedestal with United States. And therefore, the President of the United States cannot threaten Nigeria. He doesn't have that right. Even though he may have what it takes to carry out such a threat, he cannot do so because Nigeria is a sovereign and independent nation.
He cannot do so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Say, by the simple law of, you know, sovereignty and independence of nations, he doesn't have the right to do so. That's what I mean.
How viable are these laws?
No.
Because the last time we checked,
they are subject to
international law.
They are subject to break.
Just exists on the paper.
They are subject to break, and that's what I'm saying. Say by right, and that's why I use the word by simple right of morality.
Okay.
He cannot do so.
On the grounds of morality.
Yes, on the grounds of morality, and that's why I say that as a Nigerian, now and as a nationalist, I will stand to condemn such a threat, right?
Okay.
But that's not the end of the matter. It doesn't end there.
It doesn't end there.
Yes. Now, beyond that, let's take it to the level of, so anybody who probably has spoken now in condemnation of what President Trump said, and even if there are problems in Nigeria, which we will talk about when I come to the issue of the factual part of it.
That's okay.
And even if there are issues in Nigeria, and the United States feels that, look, what is happening here is not good, perhaps it may not have come in a manner that it was delivered by the President of the United States, and that automatically takes me to the level of diplomacy. Quite frankly, I think the President of the United States did not observe these simple tenets of diplomacy and international relations in a manner that he delivered
the message.
The message. He may be telling the truth. He may be, speaking his mind. He may be honest about it. But we all have an idea what international relations and diplomacy is all about. And it is not a rocket science. It's about mutual respect and understanding of each other in a manner that, when you want to engage me in a communication, you engage me with that mindset that I'm a co-equal with you. That you're not superior to me, and I'm not superior to you. So that will now enable you to engage me in a manner that portrays mutual respect. Right? Now, in a manner that the President of the United States, you see, because the Nigerian president will not speak in that manner to the President of the United States.
Maybe because of he is coming from the position.
That's what I'm saying. Now the manner,
not on the grounds of equality.
The manner you will talk to another country, even though, and that was why I took time to explain the principle of sovereignty and and the nationhood. And I said, it does not matter, because it is a reality. It is real that some nations are larger, stronger, more economically strong, militarily strong, more in population, bigger in size by every ramification.
Such as the United States of America.
They are not the same. But the principle of independence of statehood and sovereignty says that, not minding all these things, you are equal. And so when you want to relate with each other, relate in the manner of equality, not in the manner of superiority. Because if you go in the manner of superiority, the entire world will blow up.
Isn't that what we see in the world?
We'll come to that.
In practical terms,
no, you see, but you don't put that in
issue of
you don't put that in front.
Superiority.
You don't put that in front. Anytime you put it in front, even though we know it does happen, quite frankly, it does happen, but you don't put it in front. If you put it in front, it becomes an affront, right? It becomes some kind of letdown. And in the same manner, when you put that person in that, when you put the lesser nation in that situation, they will not mind the fact that it could be a David and Goliath situation, right? They may act overboard. Now, but the point is this: the United States before now has been a pivot of international relations. And when we talk about international relations, diplomacy is there. Now, we are told, we have learned, and we have known over time that the United States, when we talk about diplomacy, they are at the forefront. So they cannot break their own records.
You're talking about the United States.
I'm coming.
Is it under Donald Trump?
No, at every point in time, the president of any nation is the face of that nation.
That's right.
That's the embodiment of that nation, personified. And that is why when you insult the president of a nation, it is assumed that you have insulted the
country.
So when they not minding whoever Donald Trump is as an individual, now that he's on that seat, when he speaks, we say United States has spoken. So, and that is what I'm saying, that he spoke in a manner that negates the principles of diplomacy.
We've always known Donald Trump, right from his first days
I agree with
in
you.
office.
I agree with you.
This is his second term in office.
I agree with you.
Do you think, going by his character makeup, do you think he's apologetic to anyone?
No, he's not.
About how he goes about
he's not
dispensing his duties?
He's not. But that doesn't mean that we will not condemn it when we see it. He is not. Of course, we know him. He's not a new man to international politics. We know him very clearly. Even during his campaign, we followed him.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that we will give a pass to whatever he does. We will condemn what we, even though we cannot help, we may not help it, we may not stop him, but we will condemn when he does anything that is overboard. Now, having said that,
so
that takes me to
the message he sent across to Nigeria for you was not diplomatic.
It was. He didn't deliver it in a diplomatic. He didn't observe the tenets of good international relations and diplomacy. Because when the president of a nation talks about another nation, that is why we have career diplomats. That's why we have diplomats. I'm sure if the American Secretary of State were to deliver that message, that same thing, he won't deliver it in this manner.
Okay.
Right? And that is why, or if we were to have anybody in American Department of State to deliver that same message that Donald Trump delivered, perhaps it won't come in that manner. And many people, and if you look at the content of what Donald Trump was saying, so this automatically takes me to the factual.
To the factual.
Yes.
Well, we're still going to come back to this other first and second point, because there are still areas I want us to clear there, because if we are saying the way he sent the message across was not diplomatic, how best could he have made it diplomatic?
Good.
How best could the message have been, sent across? Maybe were there things he needed to take away from the content of the message?
Now, if you look at the content of what he said, he talked about how Christians are being killed in Nigeria. Now, the factuality of what he's saying is a different thing, of course. Depending on who is contestable, and depending on who is looking at it. But I felt that he could have probably taken cognizance of the fact that Nigeria is a sovereign nation that has a president, right? And even though he has the power to send his jets, because they belong to him, his country, he is the one that gives instructions.
That's right.
If he says go, they will go. If he says stop, they will stop. That he cannot, it is wrong for him to just deploy his military men into the sovereignty of another nation without engaging the president of that country. I'm not sure if he has engaged the president of. I probably would have been much more comfortable, and I'm sure people would have been much comfortable if he had said, look, we have received reports of Christian genocide in Nigeria and very serious persecution of Christians in Nigeria, and as long as the United States is concerned and our values, this is very, very unacceptable. I am going to engage the Nigerian leader, and we'll find ways, and I'm going to hold him accountable to ensure that he protects and lives up to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is a very strong statement, and if after some time the Nigerian government doesn't do anything, America will probably take a second look at it, and that will inform our next action.
Okay, it will have been better covered.
Now, it doesn't have to put it in my own language, but all those idea of to be fast and swift to send the aircraft, in fact, I've instructed the Department of War to prepare for action, and that is bullying. As long as I'm concerned, that is bullying.
Some people have described Donald Trump right from his first days in office as a bullish person.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We mustn't be welcoming all those bullish, that kind of behavior. However, this doesn't in any way suggest that what he was saying was not right.
Was not right or was not true.
I will come to that.
I
will explain the two of them.
Is there any line between being true?
No, when you say true now, when you say true now, I want to use the word right. Let's leave true. By the time we know whether it is true or not, facts will emerge by themselves.
Okay.
Good. Now, sometime in 2014, there were cases of reports of, Christians, or different kinds of things happening in Nigeria. To the extent that even our current president now made a tweet at that point in time.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes. Condemning the killings of Christians in Nigeria. In fact, he particularly blamed the current president at that time.
Who blamed the current president?
The current president now was blaming the president at that time.
At that time, 2014. If we go back to 2014, it was the days of Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes.
Aha. So
that was during the. In fact, if I could read that tweet.
Okay. Bola Ahmed Tinubu personally tweeted
on the 20th of January 2014. The slaughtering of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan to protect Nigerians. Now, this thing has been in public domain, and the president was alleged to have tweeted this then, and for the past few days now,
from his handle.
Yes, from his verified Twitter handle.
Okay.
Now, the presidency has not disclaimed this so far, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if this were to be true, then what it simply means is that the American government, over time, and let me say this very clearly, I must say this with every sense of responsibility, that today, America is assuming this posture. The things that gave rise to this may not have happened now or yesterday. This is probably things that happened over time.
Culminated over time.
Yes. Okay. An aggregate of things, maybe in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years. It could be. Now, they've been keeping this dossier. Now, I thought what the Nigerian government should have done when this news, in fact, let me also tell you one other thing else.
Go ahead, sir.
Nigeria should get more bothered, particularly the elites. You see, when this news broke about roughly 1 month ago, that Ted Cruz, the American senator, who came up with this issue.
In the American Senate?
Yes, in the American Senate, about the Christian genocide in Nigeria. What I expected the Nigerian government to do was to take this matter very serious. The president probably should have raised a team of some kind of an envoy comprising religious leaders of international repute. We have them in Nigeria here. Diplomats, very credible diplomats, and find a way to send them to the United States to engage. You see, because perception is everything. Perception is everything. You don't allow this narrative to gain ground to the point that what you're not doing is damage control. Number two, so let's grant the fact that everything may not have been happening now, because if you ask me, since the Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, I do not think, we have heard such news of as it used to happen before.
With insecurity in Nigeria?
No, not just generally insecurity. Specifically now, the genocide is a systematic, onslaught, either by killing or subjugation or extermination of a particular set of people, based on the fact that they are identified with that particular. For instance, if it's an ethnic genocide, you say based on the fact that they identify with that ethnic society or ethnicity
identity.
If it is religion, based on the fact that they identify with that particular religion. It is systematic, over time, deliberate, right? That is genocide. And if you look at events in Nigeria, go beyond 2023, take it from, let's say, 2010. Now, you ask yourself, where has been the hotbed of killings and other insecurity cases? That is not the type that probably happened in the southeast. You talk about the North Central, Plateau, Nasarawa,
Benue,
and some parts of Maiduguri. Right? Now, these are states, and Kaduna, particularly the
southern
Kaduna. And you and I know that these are places that are densely populated by Christians.
Maybe we'll call them northern Christians.
These things may not have happened now, and that is where I want the Nigerian government to pay attention to. You see, because when this thing came, those who work in the presidency, those who speak for the Mr. President, they just went haywire, talking as usual. But unfortunately, it didn't occur to them that this time around they are not talking of the Nigerian people. They are talking of a country that has all the resources and all the arsenal and everything to gather intelligence and information. Now, you do not know the extent of the intelligence that is available to the United States government. So, I thought the Nigerian government should engage them. The president seek audience with your counterparts. The Minister of Foreign Affairs seek audience with your counterparts. Go with your own data. Compare with what they have. Don't be defensive. Accept areas where things have not been okay.
Do you think such a meeting ground was ever possible? Between
those meetings don't just happen. They don't just happen. I came to this studio today because there was a reach out, right? Now, if I didn't get a call, we interacted, and I said, okay, I will come. This meeting wouldn't even have happened. So, meetings of that nature don't happen until somebody initiates it. And that's what I'm saying, that at the time this news broke, we probably delayed in our actions. What happened? The Senate they were debating sending a delegate planning. We need to say these are not things. Is not it. And for me, that was more like a jamboree.
Is that not a serious indictment on the caliber of leadership that we have in this client?
No, it's not about an indictment. Most of the things, how come everybody is not rattled?
You know this usual attitude of playing to the gallery.
That's what I'm saying.
When critical national issues emerge.
That's what I'm saying. There are things, in this country, we have an attitude of when, you see, in crisis management, or rather in security generally, and conflict management, there's something we call early warning. You must watch out for early warning. No crisis happens without an early warning. But you see, most people take early warnings for granted. They either take them for granted or don't take them very serious. In the same way, any of the trade unions want to go on strike in Nigeria now, they write to the government, they don't take them serious until you wake up one morning to hear that this union has gone on strike.
Aside the trade union relationship with the government, what about natural disasters such as we begin to experience flooding? So it's an attitude. Flooding. It's an attitude that the warnings will come that in the next 6 months there's going to be flooding, and then we keep quiet till it happens.
It's an attitude we must deal with in this country. Now, that aside, so I think that what is happening now is a situation where the United States government probably may have over time been putting their information together, and maybe very unfortunately they are speaking out now, and it happens to be that President Bola Tinubu is on the seat. Maybe a lot of these things didn't quite happen within the 2 years he has been president of Nigeria.
So it's not just about Bola Tinubu being president.
And this is where most of those who speak for him, they speak as if Nigeria is not the government is not a continuum.
I'm going to pause you there now. The signs have come for us to go on a very quick break, so that when we return, I want us to actually look at the factual, which is the third factor you raised earlier on. Let's look at the factuality of these whole things. So that if you are still with us, we'll be right back. The conversation continues with Emeka Odom. All right, so there you're welcome back to the program, The Arena, where we are taking on a very critical national and international issue that has to do with, the face-off, between the United States government and the Nigerian government at the moment. Because the president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has issued a warning to the Nigerian government over the genocidal killings of Christians in Nigeria, saying they may strike. Well, we don't know if it's a livable threat yet, but then going by the disposition of the character of the man, Donald Trump, he said in his campaigns that he's going to protect Christians. He will protect Christians and fight anything that's going to, offend Christians. I don't know the romance or relationship Donald Trump has with Christianity, but I don't think he's even a Christian. Is he one? I saw him wielding the Bible during the campaigns, but I don't think he's a Christian.
Why do you think so?
Which of the denominations does he belong in Christendom? If you know his denomination, you could share.
No, you see, the point is it doesn't even need to be a Christian, and you see, we live in a world where there are values, and these values are universal in nature, and that is what we talk about. Very unfortunately, we see the reverse in the developing world. We see places, okay, let's even assume, if you go through have you seen any leader? All the countries that have suffered one genocide or the other today. Have you seen any leader on seat and either his religion or his ethnic nationality or the tribe that where he belongs becomes a victim of genocide? Have you seen that happen? Good. Now, all the leaders today that have been indicted for genocide, whether it's al-Bashir in Sudan, or any of the other leaders, it is usually not their own tribe
that suffers.
And so what does it tell you? It simply tells you that what we have in the developing world is chronism. People become protective of theirs and don't care. A leader becomes protective of, if his religion, his people of his own religion, and probably doesn't care what happens to people of other religion. He's a bit, carefree about what happens to people of other religion. And if it's a tribal thing, he protects people of his tribe. But that is very wrong. And that is what we see in the developing world.
Like we witnessed in Kenya in the early 90s.
And that is the reason why.
And
that is the reason why when leaders get to positions of authority, you see those who identify with him either on the angle of religion or on the angle of tribe. You see them behave in a certain way, and people, they build a shield around that leader, even if irrespective of how the leader is behaving on that seat. They never get to see. They never get to believe that he could be very wrong. They support practically everything he's doing because the belief is that our own Abraham, our own Godfather, is there now. You understand the point I'm trying to make?
Like Napoleon is always right.
Exactly.
In George Orwell's Animal Farm.
Exactly. Because his supporters, those who are from his side, so to say, see him as their chief protector. So he must be supported at all costs. He can never be wrong. Even when others are saying, no, what this leader is doing is they rather go after those people. And that is what you get. That's the kind of leadership you get in Africa. And so values are neglected. Values are abandoned. But when you see a leader come out to say, I am going to protect this, as long as those things border on values. For instance, the issue of human life. No Christian deserves to be killed. No Muslim deserves to be killed. Not even those who don't believe in anything, atheists.
Or even the third major religion in Nigeria, the traditional.
That's what I'm saying. The African traditional religion. Not just them. Christians, Muslims, African traditional religion, atheists, and people who believe in other foreign religions. Nobody deserves to be killed. If God wants to kill anybody for not believing in him, leave that for him. You're not a heavenly policeman.
Playing God.
Playing God. Leave that person with God. And if God has decided to leave these people alive, what is your own job? Why are you giving yourself headache? And this is something that, and this is a value we need to entrench in this country. Whether there are persecutions in this country or not, nobody can come and tell that. No, I'm even surprised that right now the government is preaching and asking all Nigerians to, rally around, come under one umbrella, speak in one voice. But tomorrow, if you have issues with this government, you want to say no, I don't believe in this, you want to do protest, they will go and deal with you. When you do things like this, you create a sense of, disenchantment and amongst the people. And to now rally around government on matters of this nature becomes very difficult.
So for you now, for Donald Trump, he's looking at the protection of values.
Yeah, for me, because if tomorrow he sees where Muslims are being killed or people of other religions are being killed and he doesn't say anything about it, I would say he's being partial.
You're being partial?
Yes, because for me, it's the value that I'm concerned about.
There are some other aspects of Donald Trump's personal character disposition I want us to look at, but not right now.
Okay.
If we are going to have enough time, by the producer, we may look at that. But I want us to look at the factual, the third factor you mentioned earlier, the factuality of the matter.
Yes. Now, yes, the factuality of the matter is that I already touched on that, and I did say, if you look at Nigeria today,
yes,
nobody denies the fact that killings have been going on. Quite frankly, we have security challenges, and I don't think anybody will deny that. And if you look back in the last 10 years or thereabouts, the question to ask is, where have been the hotbed of these killings? The Boko Haram, the ISWAP, the banditries, and all the things, all the security challenges that we've been having.
Even there's a part we're neglecting. The herdsmen attack.
That's what I'm saying. Of course,
farmers.
Of course, they're all part in the same pack. Now, if you look, where have been the hottest beds? I mean, the hottest zones of these attacks? They're not central, apart from Maiduguri. They're not central. And I mentioned to you, and I said, look at Benue. In fact, take your mind back to when Governor Otom was in power. In fact, that was in this particular incident that Governor Otom came out and he was almost crying on national television. Look at Benue. Look at...
There was an incident, There was an incident where the Governor Otom, actually had to escape from his attackers.
That's the point.
He went to his farm, they attacked him, he had to run for his life.
Now,
and I think at the end of the day, the Herders Association came and they claimed responsibility.
Look at Benue. In fact, I remember there was a time also where the Governor Otom himself in Benue State almost, were making very uncomplimentary remarks against the former president Buhari at that time.
Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes. These things are in the news, they're in public domain. And that was where he came out to say that when he set up his security, the security outfit in Benue, and that he needed a certain kind of gun for the security outfit to carry in tackling insecurity, but it was denied. Remember?
Yes.
Now,
and in addition, also, T.Y. Danjuma. Which part of the country?
He's from Taraba.
Is he a Christian?
Yes, he's a Christian.
There was a time he asked his people to rise up to defend
themselves.
Go ahead, sir.
Now, look at Benue State. Look at Nasarawa State. Look at Plateau State. Look at the Southern Kaduna
and Taraba.
Look at some parts of. Now, these are places, though in the northern part of the country, we call them North Central. But these are places that will have large number of Christians. And they seem to be the hotbeds of this. Now the question is this. Among all the people that are dead, victims of all of this insecurity, Can any Nigerian agency today, because we're talking about facts, can any Nigerian agency today come to say between 2014 or 2010, 2025, these are the total number of people that have been killed by other bandits, Boko Haram, ISWAP, or through all of this insecurity that's happening? This is the total number of people that have been killed. Among all these people, so and so number are Christians and so number are Muslims. And if you go through these indices, then it is very clear to say that more Muslims have been killed, or nobody has that figure.
Probably that statistics exist. We may not.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly where I'm going to. Now, we do not know whether America has such statistics or not. We don't know. So, and that is when this news came out, what I expect, the first thing, even the Senate, to my own consternation, the first thing everybody did was to condemn Ted Cruz, and people said all kinds of things. Now, I had expected some institutions where to go beyond the ordinary. These are institutions that engage in research. These are institutions you can call think tank. They have a think tank arm. To go beyond that, to engage these people, engage probably the American agencies, and say, look, this is the figure we have. Do you have a superior figure? For you to come up with this, what led you to say this?
So that we can compare and contrast.
But I'm not sure these things were done. The first we did was to become that defensive. And let me tell you, Ted Cruz, the same man.
The senator.
Yes, there's a bill that is in the works in the American Senate. In the American Senate now, I think it is called a religious appropriation bill or something like religious protection appropriation, something like that.
Okay.
Now, that bill is making a steady progress. The moment it becomes a law,
in the U.S.
The Secretary of State, based on the statistics available to them, they can look into any country, particularly, I think it's even centered on Nigeria. They can look into the country and mention names. They can look individuals and say, see, this number of people, please freeze their assets in the United States, freeze their so and so thing, withdraw their visa, and all kinds of sanctions can be imposed on them for cases of either they are aiding religious abuse or impeding religious freedom, or it's a funny case.
So aside this other aspect of the security concern, there's also the other part, the economic aspect of the threat from Donald Trump.
Yes.
He threatened that he was going to cut off every aid coming from the U.S. to Nigeria. What's the implication if that should happen?
Of course, that's what it's supposed to be. See, and that is why it's good for every country to be 100% independent, if it is possible.
Could that ever be possible?
No, but at least
which nation could be an island of its
to a reasonable extent. The same way it happens for individuals, that's why it happens for even nations. It's just that it's on a more magnitude. As an individual,
yes,
if your basics, if you cannot be responsible for your basics, it's a serious problem. You are a man, you have a family, right? The house you're living in is at the expense of somebody else. The 3 square meals you eat in a day, your movement, practically the basics, somebody else is heavily subsidizing it. Of course, we don't need anybody to tell you that your independence is and your freedom is limited. You should mind what you say. You should mind where you go. You should mind the way you act.
Or even how you breathe.
Because if you offend the man who is...
Your breath could even be an offense to him.
So you should know that. But when you know that, look, you provide all that you need, basically. Maybe where you have to rely on somebody outside is something you can even dispense with. Of course, you can come out boldly and air your views and air your opinion. It doesn't matter if anybody gets offended. After saying you get into your car and drive home, nobody's going to lock the gate to say you can't come in. That is the way it works. So, America knows very well that they support very heavily many nations of the world. And that is why they sometimes boldly, without resorting to any decency at all, they can come out and tell you, say, this is what we want to do. Doesn't matter how you feel about it. Because they know very well that you can't bluff, you can't call up their bluff. If you do, you pay a bigger price somewhere else.
The consequences are there. For instance, I know we cannot begin to make comparison between Nigerian resources to that of the U.S. because we know that U.S. by a very wide margin surpasses Nigeria, even landmass.
Are we talking of
population?
Are we talking of
resources?
No, hold on. Before we even do that, we need to put it in context.
Go ahead.
When you talk about resources, are we talking of developed resources or non-developed resources? Because if you talk about natural resources, are we really sure that US is far more blessed in terms of natural resources than Nigeria?
Maybe not blessed now, but ability to harness.
So let's contextualize it by saying,
for instance,
developed resources.
Okay, for instance, if we were to look at the budgetary allocation of these two states, annual budgets, I don't know if you've taken time to go.
I know what you're talking about.
The US.
I know what you're talking about. I was only saying, let's put your statement in context. Yeah. When you say, the US is bigger in terms of resources, and I say, please contextualize it by saying US is bigger in developed resources, because when you say resources, it looks as because resources is inclusive of both natural and developed. Well, when you come to natural, I am not sure. That is the one that comes from God, isn't it? I'm not sure US is far more blessed in terms of natural resources.
Use their natural resources when they are not at, when they are not.
No, it goes to highlight the sympathetic nature of your case as a country now. It's very sympathetic that we can be highly blessed, right? If you talk about the first 10, I'm giving an example now.
Ahead.
If we are among the first 10 nations of the world in terms of natural resources, but when you talk about developed resources, will now fall under the 10 least nations of the world. Is that not a tragedy? It's like a man whose father is a world billionaire, and you are counted among those who cannot pay school fees in the community secondary school. Can't you see it's a very big disaster?
Tragedy.
So that is why, yes, US is ahead of Nigeria in developed resources. And when we say these things, they will help us to tell us where we are and the things we need to do, and very fast too.
There are some people from another side of the matter who have alleged that probably America is being threatened by the current leadership in Nigeria. One, politics.
Which leadership?
They tend to see the economic policies of the current president, as trying to make Nigeria become self-reliant, and maybe by omission or commission extend such reliance to the ECOWAS countries.
These are beer parlor conjectures. These are beer parlor conjectures. See what is happening in Nigeria.
So then you understand. So
that America is not threatened. America is not threatened. America is not threatened by the economic hegemony of people like China and this. You see, the thing is that these are the arguments that people put up, and these arguments, you know what they do to us? They stop us from, accepting responsibility and taking steps that leads to redress. The truth of the matter is that now sometimes too, I like this kind of arguments when like this kind of scenario that is unfolding now. Everybody is rattled now because Donald Trump has said so. But quite frankly, if Donald Trump is pointing out the fact that there's no total religious freedom in Nigeria, can you really say that there's a total religious freedom in Nigeria? Because you're in Enugu here. You wake up in the morning, you want to go to where you want to. You put up your in some other parts of the country. Are people there? There's a video that's been circulating on social media.
Okay.
One, is it a Reverend Pastor Dakoma or something from the north or so?
Okay.
There are many parts of this country today. And by the way, let me ask you. You heard about the story of the woman who was murdered in Kubwa in Abuja.
Okay.
some time ago. Was it in 2015 or 2016? The woman that was on an early morning cry.
And she was born.
You heard about the story of
young student.
the young student that murdered someone. You see, and you think these things are not. You see, it happens, and we forget. There are people who catalog these things, and sometimes what they are concerned about is not that they happened. Is how did the government handle these cases? What were the consequences? You see, because for every wrongdoing of this nature that the government fails to address very squarely is a latent encouragement
for more to happen.
And beyond that, see, if I'm the Nigerian leader,
you have less than a minute to go. Apologies.
It's okay. Yeah, but that is true. That's where it happens.
So hitting the nail on the head.
Yes.
What should Nigerian government do now in the next 30 seconds?
Nigerian government should activate the highest diplomatic, opportunities that are available, and they are there to deal with this situation. It hasn't gone that bad. What happened that Donald Trump just called our attention, and that's the point I was trying to make. If a Nigerian had called attention, or any group in Nigeria had called attention to these things, now would we have been taking this serious?
Okay. So it's coming from the right source.
That is why
it's coming from where
sometimes
attention will be
we
paid.
need things like this to enable us take redress.
Okay, we need things like this to enable us take redress. We hope that indeed the Nigerian government will be able to address this matter so that it doesn't get out of hand, it doesn't escalate. Donald Trump said he's coming. We'll watch and see. Until come your way again, I remain Chris Anibogu, thanking Emeka Udom for coming to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Bye for now.